Okay, now onto the publications part. Again, let me assert that publications are quite expensive in terms of CPU, so be mindful and use them only when needed. I have seen countless Meteor applications struggling from performance issues due to the overuse of publications. Okay, so let's begin. In our messages directory, we're going to create another one, and we're going to call server. Okay, then we're going to move our methods into it. Okay, let me save. Also, we need to modify the import in the main/server. Okay, and just let me check if everything is okay. Okay, everything is not. Cannot find module dot messages. Yes. Okay, in the methods, I need to modify the import. Okay, now it's working. Back to our application. Next to our methods file, we're going to create another one and we're going to call publications.js. Okay, we're going to import the messages collection as we usually do. Then we're going to create our very first publication. Again, Meteor is super simple. Meteor.methods, Meteor.publish for publications. So it's super simple. And we give our publication a name. So we're going to name it messages.all. Um, in our methods, the convention we used was to like have the module name followed by a verb or an action. For publications, it's best to again have the module followed by a noun to explain what type of data that we get back or even the amount of it. Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious here that we're going to return all the messages. So messages.all is very fitting. Next up is the security part, which is very important. Um, Let me just type it out. Okay, this basically tells Meteor if no user ID is found, if no user is logged in, uh, this publication is ready and you can move on, because typically Meteor waits for publications to resolve. Okay, so this just tells Meteor that if no user is logged in, just this is fine, continue with your work. Otherwise, we're going to return all of the messages present in our application. And keep in mind, like typically in your application, you should be very careful and about what you return to the user, because typically you wouldn't like return all of the records in your application. But for the sake of our application, it's just this one big chat room, so we return all of the messages. Maybe if it was a little bit more complicated, we would return only messages for certain users and whatnot. And also, I just want to point out the difference, okay, between the methods and publications. In methods, when we want to check for logged in users, we use meteor.user async, but for publications, we have to use this.user ID, okay? Explaining this is beyond the scope of our tutorial, but just be sure to always, do your authentication checks in your methods or publications. And in publications, we use this.user ID, but on methods, we use meteor.user async, okay? Now we have our publication. I'm going to go to our chat.js, okay? And I'm going to type in a new part, template.chat.onCreated, okay? It's a function. I'm going to subscribe to our publication. This dot subscribe, okay? Messages dot all, okay? And before we do so, I actually forgot a part. We need to go to our server and also import our publications file as we did with the methods. So publications, so it's actually recognized. Okay, now let me go to our application. Let me log in. Okay, now let's see. Okay, as you can see, if we go to our Meteor tab, then to mini Mongo, and we shall find that we have our messages collection, and it contains 4 records. These records are the exact same one that are in the database. So let me show you. Okay, messages. Again, these are the exact very records, okay, that I just created. Um, Let me just edit one of them. So this hello world 2, I'm going to have it in Latin numerals. Okay, save. Okay, get a little bit of an error, but it's edited. If I were to go back to my application and reload, okay, for some reason, the Meteor DevTools is a bit laggy. So I'm going to actually do this. Import messages. So mm, I hope now you get why we placed our methods and publications inside the server directory, because typically um, any file that's not present within like a server directory is accessible to both the client and the server. So of course our messages collection can be accessed by our method and publication, but also by the client side. That's why it's important to differentiate this behavior by placing um, messages outside of the server directory. And what we've just done is after the creation of our template again, and creation runs in a step before the rendering. So even before our template gets rendered in the browser, we subscribe to the publication. And here I'm going to log out all of the records here. And this is like the mini Mongo lingo. Okay, so as you can see, it's just the exact same as you would write on the server side. Okay, and that's the beauty of Meteor really, because the same API that you use to communicate with Mongo on the back end, you can use it on the front end, and you can use all sort of MongoDB, jargon. For instance, you can have sort, you can do all sort of filtering. Okay, let me go to my application to show you. Okay, now as you can see, we have our records here, and this is the one I had just modified. Okay, hello world 2. So as you can see, it's working fine, and this is publications for you. Okay, I didn't have to write all of this reactive code to take note of the changes on the server side and push them to the client side. Meteor had already done this for me. All I had to do was just to subscribe. Okay, subscribe by the name to the publication we just created and have the publication. That's as simple as it. And also, let me just show you one more part. So here I brought back the console log. I'm going to actually log out. Then I'm going to reload. As you can see, the client side doesn't have anything. Okay, there are no records here for it to show. The messages collection on Minimongo on the client side is empty. Why? Because again, our publication, if no users logged in, it returns this dot ready. Okay, so it moves on. It doesn't return anything. Yeah, so that's it for publications. In the next part, I'm going to complete our UI. Okay, we're going to have our messages displayed here, because we already have a way to enter it and to but we don't have a way to display them. Okay, thank you, and see you in the next video.